A sister says, regarding marrying a person who is not as committed as we are, what if none of the suitors are as practicing as my family? I told my family that Allah answers prayers and a practicing suitor will come eventually. They are worried about my age as options seem to be limited. Some suitors accept the veil but say have to go out in front of the in-laws. Better to pray and wait, or what do you advise? First of all, everything has been predestined by Allah Azza wa Jal 50,000 years before He created the universe. So it's done. And life as we know it is just a test. We're being tested as we speak. Some of us are tested with poverty, illnesses, health, wealth. All of these are different tests that Allah Azza wa Jal gives to people, and they will be held accountable according to their results and how they perform. So, technically, if a woman accepts someone, a suitor, and she accepts his proposal, though he is way below her level of righteousness and practicing, the marriage is valid, it is correct, there's no doubt in that because he's a Muslim. However, is it advisable or not? This is something that the vast majority of scholars would advise against. Why? They say that women by nature are weak. And not only women, even men, but generally speaking, this is more predominant in women. They are weak, vulnerable, and easy to manipulate through a husband who is not as practicing. Inevitably and eventually, she most likely will give in, and her level of iman would go down until it reaches or even surpasses the level of her husband. A woman that does not watch movies, TV series, does not listen to music, and whenever her husband is in the living room, he's watching it. So she stays in her room or in the kitchen. After some time, she will feel weak. She wants to sit with her husband whom she loves, or with her children, but now she is stuck between a rock and a hard place. If Allah does not make her steadfast, usually the vast majority will fall weak. And this is why, as a woman, you have to have preference. You must have something that you would not agree to go below. So let's assume the suitor is good in his moral conduct. His akhlaq is very high. He's kind, caring, loving. He has a good job, but he's clean shaven. This is sinful. But does it impact your marriage to him? I personally would not see that to impact it. Inshallah, in the future, you may be able to convince him. It doesn't affect your marriage. But when it comes to the veil, if you're a niqabi and your husband is okay with it if you're out on the street, but when it comes to his cousins, his brothers, he tells you and orders you to take it off, this does affect your religion and your iman. So again, here you have to weigh the pros and cons. What is best? To compromise, to accept, or to just keep on rejecting and make dua? You have to look into each case by case scenario. If there is a potential suitor that has so many good things in him, a good aqeedah, he prays in the masjid, let's say he has good aqeedah, he is a kind, caring, loving, has a good job, his family is fine, but he doesn't pray in the masjid. Or he prays on and off in the masjid. In home, he prays 5 times a day. This is acceptable because with time, inshallah, you'll be able to convince him. Again, this is something related to him practicing, not to the marriage or to you or to your family. So you have to weigh the pros and cons and see what suits you best. At the end of the day, make a lot of dua and have trust in Allah Azza wa Jal.